Hello everyone and welcome to this webinar on test prep by InsideIIM. I hope you all are doing great. I hope your preparations are also going great. It's September already and a lot of you are already wondering if your preparations are on the right track. If you have completed your syllabus and are going steadily, you might still be wondering if it is enough to fetch you your target percentile. Today, we have these two panelists from IIM Ahmedabad and FMS Delhi who have not aced CAT just once, but twice. And now I would just leave the rest for them to introduce themselves. So, welcome Ashwin and Sanjay. Please tell us a bit about yourselves.
Sure. Hey everyone, my name is Ashwin Ganesh, and I attempted CAT. I studied for CAT twice and I attempted it twice. In CAT 2021, I gained a 99.67 percentile, and I currently am studying in FMS Delhi as part of the batch of 2024.
Sanjay?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Sanjay Patil, and currently I'm studying at IIM Ahmedabad. Before this, I worked as a software developer for 1.5 years. And during my job, I have attempted the CAT exam twice. In my first attempt, I could not make it to a good B school. So I attempted it again, and currently I'm studying it.
Great. Ashwin, can you tell a bit about your background, your undergraduation work ex?
Sure. I had a pretty average profile of 978 in my 10th, 12th and undergraduation, and I come from fairly lower tier engineering corporates are in Chennai, and I had 22 months of work ex in IT in with Tata Consultancy Services in the digital cadre. So I'd been working during and but when I started preparing for CAT, I was that time a fresher, and over the course of time, I attended CAT twice, CAT 2020 and CAT 2020.
Okay, great. So, can you both share your sectional scores along with your overall scores?
Mm,
Sanjay?
sure.
Uh, yeah, so in my recent CAT attempt, I had a overall score of 99.89. My sectional scores in Quant and DLR were in DLR I had 99.86 and 99.84 in Quant, and in VRC I had a 95.61 percentile.
Okay, Ashwin?
Yeah. And I had in my most recent attempt, I had a overall percentile of 99.67, and with the section percentiles of BRC, TLR, QA being 98.29, 96.9, and 99.67, respectively.
Okay. So now, since both of you have attempted the CAT twice, so can you share what extra efforts did you put the second time? Because you had already experienced giving the exam. So what did you think you could do extra uh, to the second time? So any of you can go.
Sanjay, maybe you would like to take this up first.
Yeah, sure. So, in my first attempt, I had after giving CAT, I realized that I had gotten most of the IM calls. However, I realized that I did not give the interviews quite well, and due to that, I could not get into any good B schools. So the second time, what I did was I made sure that what my second time was a repetition of my first efforts as well as some extra revision. So for that, I took extra mocks as well as attempted like all of the previous year's question papers from 2017. So that made a total of 12 previous year papers as well as the mocks which I had taken from various institutes.
Okay.
Um,
Ashwin?
yeah. So I attempted CAT 2020, and unfortunately, I tanked one of my sections of VRC, which had been my strongest section throughout my entire mock season. Unfortunately, I tanked that, and so I do not have so many calls. With Chris, so I had already knew that I was going to attempt CAT 2021 shortly after the results were announced. And I think then what I did differently in my second attempt was basically, I think it was a two-pronged thing. So with respect to my mentality, I used to earlier take a lot of pressure with respect to the exam. So this time I decided to not keep any expectations from the exam itself, because that's what had earlier bogged me down during the paper. And so that time I thought I'll not keep any expectation of the exam and just keep expectations of my daily preps and what I was doing, my daily consistent effort. With respect to my prep, I had like from a technical point of view, I think I had naturally solved a lot of papers, previous year papers, I think around 50 to 60. And I'd also practiced a lot more mocks and sectional tests. I think during around this time last year, I was just solving a mock and a sectional test almost every day and every other.
Okay, right. Let's. We have a question in the audience from Anmol Ahuja. He's asking, how did you prepare for the verbal part? So you both can go. Sanjay.
Yeah. So in my first attempt, just before my first attempt, I had given the GRE, and frankly, I had found the reading comprehension material quite useful in the CAT as well. I analyzed the VRC part of CAT, and like every year you get around 70 to 75% question from the reading comprehension part. So for VRC, I had focused mainly on the RC part. As for the VA part, it is often non-negative marking, and like they are at least for me they were quite tough, so I focused on the VRC part. In VRC, like I would recommend the candidates to focus on reading, and not just reading the things which you like. You should read the things which you don't like or don't have an interest in, because in the actual exam you will get passages from completely unrelated domains, so your brain should be trained to read that and also able to comprehend the things outside of your comfort zone. So that's basically what I did.
Right. Ashwin.
I think, yeah, I think adding on to what Sanjay said, definitely reading plays a very important part in scoring well. I was naturally good at VRC, and I realized that I needed just some practice, if not everything. So I was good in the RC part, but found myself towards the lower end side when with respect to VAs. So I did not practice much of VA, but I practice a lot of reading, because I think that reading essence would give you a good idea of how the comprehension flows, and therefore you'll be able to do better in your VA also. It seems counterintuitive, but it actually works. Second, I think that with respect to, in addition to what Sanjay said, candidates must also focus on option elimination rather than option selection during RCs, because I often found that or you have to, when faced between candidates must know like which options are the easiest to eliminate and would definitely not be the right answer. I think that is what helps get a good score.
Right. We have one more question. It's from Amol Savant. It says, how do we go beyond 99 percentile in case of quant? So, can any of you share your views on this?
Yeah, so I'll go first. Yeah, so in both of my attempts, I had above 99 in quant, and I would like to share my strategy. So for quant, basically, I solved many questions from 2iimcat.com. So that website has like 2000 odd questions related to quant, and they are fairly just one level above cat. If you take any other like course, you'll find that the level is a bit different, and you don't get a match. So basically I solved many questions for quant. The only solution is to practice a lot, and that's what I did. So in addition to practice, you should also focus on each and every topic, because the questions will be asked from the topics which are hard as well. And even though you don't practice like in depth for each topic, I advise that at least you should be able to solve any easy questions from all the topics which are there. For example, let's say you find logarithm and exponents difficult, so it's better not to skip that topic, rather just focus on the easy questions, because by mistakenly if one easy question comes in the exam, you don't want to regret later that this could have been done just in 30 seconds or something like that. So that is what I recommend.
Right. Ashwin, what did you do for quant? Can you please share
Yeah.
that?
Um, so when I started, I did not have such a good base with quants, and I'm very sure. As opposed to being an engineer, I was not good with QA. But I naturally first started with respect to prepping from, I also prepped a lot from 2IM. And along with 2IM, I also, in starting, I used to do from Arun Sharma and other things. But then I joined Quantify, where I was getting daily sectional threads. So I used to get daily sectional threads of QA section. And I used to, it was from the previous year question papers. So I used to, or from mocks. So I used to give a lot of sectional tests, previous year mocks, this year mocks, along with the content that was given and in the form of sectional threads that were posted in FB regularly. So I used to do this around daily. And I think that is what increased my CAT scores naturally throughout the two attempts.
Okay. There's a question. It says that my question is for Sanjay. How many mocks should one take to get a 99 percentile?
Okay. So it depends from person to person. Like there is no fixed number of mocks which you have to take. But I recommend that at least you should solve the previous year papers, because that is what will give you a fair idea of your percentile. Because if you take any test like SIMCATs or MCATs, they are naturally biased, because more number of let's say test takers will join those courses. So that might not give you a fair idea, like how much percentile you actually score. That being said, I generally found that candidates giving around 30 plus mocks generally get above 99 percentile. But that is not a rule of thumb again. Like you can
Right.
go above 99 in even 10 mocks, or it might even take you 50. So
Right.
Yeah.
Ashwin, you would
And
like to share your views?
yeah, as I think Sanjay said, I think I was definitely around someone who gave around in the lines of 50 mocks throughout my 3 years to achieve 99.67. So with respect to that, I think definitely, as he said, there's no magic number. And on those lines, maybe the only thing is, I think when you're analyzing mocks, well, so it is, I feel it is with respect to the number of mocks you have analyzed properly, how many strengths and weaknesses you have identified, and on basis of that, how many more mocks do you think will be required to achieve 99? And it's not necessary to always get 99 in mocks, because often I found that I was roughly scoring around in the lines of 97 to 99 during my last 3, 4 months. And was confident during the CAT, I would score more, because CAT mocks are definitely tougher than the actual exam. I think Sanjay would agree with me on this. So on those lines, I think when you're finding that yourself in the range of 97 to 99 and 99 plus maybe, so I think that's a good number of mocks that you attempted.
Okay. Ashwin, you had shared that you wanted to give CAT 19 but ended up not giving. So, like, can you share that experience?
Sure, Atika. So I came from a very different profile from 978, and when I started preparing for CAT was basically to thinking during as part of my, in addition to my placements, or what else I can do to improve, somewhat as part of something academic achievement. So I thought that I should definitely give CAT, because I could not give masters, and I do not know how much good I would be in my placements, or like how much would I get a package for. So naturally, I started preparing for CAT 90, and over the course of time, I had started from absolute ground zero. Like I was only good in DRC to a certain level, and DLR QA was at a bottom. So I used to improve. But one more thing is that with respect to my profile as 978, and the low scores in the mocks during the last 3, 4 months, I think from August to, it was shortly after I got in placed during my campus placement. I think those things and that time I did not have any work. So I think these things uh, had an experience on me that I took a lot of pressure and I just succumbed to it. And I did not give the cat that time after all. During my winter vacation, when I went back to my parents, and they admonished me for saying that no, you should have at least attempted the paper. And I think that is when I realized the difference between just scoring low marks on a paper and actually failing to give the paper. I think that is what actual failure meant, because I just ran away from that time, what I thought was a big problem. And with respect to those things, I think I decided to give at 20 for the second time.
Yeah, I would like to add on to what Ashwin said. Like, I have noticed many test takers, if they get a 90 percentile or even a 95 in their mocks, they are quite afraid to give the final exam. But what one should realize is that on that given day, anything can happen. I have seen people who get around 90 in their mocks and suddenly on the test they get around 99. Means this is not to say that everyone who gets a 90 in the test will get a 99, but uh, there is a chance that you might get a decent percentile. So if there is a chance, why not take it now and why wait 1 year? So I support
Right.
Ashwin's views on
And right now, we still have 3 months to go. So definitely there's a lot of scope for improving. So
that.
definitely they can jump in their percentiles.
One more thing, during my
Yeah.
one more thing, sorry, was
Yes.
that during my CAT 2020, there's always a lot of uncertainty to on the day of the paper. So it is not necessary that what section you are doing well now. Well, it might unfortunately did not go well during that CAT day, or it might be that some section that you have not had a good run in the mocks, you will be doing exceedingly well in that section on the CAT. So that is what happened with me in CAT 2020, and I was not so good in TLR, but and I got somehow 99.33 in my CAT 2020, and I unfortunately tanked the VRC section. So I think that is something that was unexpected, but it is definitely with respect to. So that is what I realized. It might be uncertain, but it is the goal is to just prepare for the goal is just to prepare the best that you can. So I think that is what helps in managing that uncertainty on that day.
Right. So now I would want to ask you both to like how did you maintain consistency in your preparation? A lot of candidates get demotivated or they don't just get time when they are managing their work. So how did you ensure that you were consistent with your preparation?
Sanjay, maybe would you like to take this, or I think I can take this up first.
Yeah, you can go first.
Sure. So I also started with the workouts during my CAT 2021 attempt and midway during my CAT 2020 also. So I was doing an IT job and it was primarily work from home. So there was some ease with respect to how easy I could prepare and other with respect to other things like other logistics issues. But definitely one thing is that with respect to your workouts also, you have to find the time. So I used to wake up early. I used to at least prepare for 2 hours before my job started, my day started at my job. And then I used to, after my work ended at around 8:30, 8:59, I used to then again sit for 3, 4 hours and then prepare for CAT again, maybe attempt a mock, maybe attend some content session, maybe some improve my prep with respect to certain areas. And over the course of time, I think I also, one more key thing is that I mentioned that I was on a course earlier. So that had also given me daily targets. So with this, I used to solve those daily mocks and sectional tests. And over the course of time, I think setting achievable targets over a long period of time helps you build that consistency rather than, and you have to keep some long term goals in mind, and but you have to have a short term action plan. So I think that is what works for me. Sanjay.
Yeah, I think Ashwin pretty much covered all the aspects. And I would like to also emphasize the same thing. Like, you have to be dedicated in your prep. So during my first attempt, I was, we had a pandemic, and that's why my job joining was delayed. So I had a lot of free time on my hand. So at that time, like at this point of time in September, I used to study at least 3 to 4 hours. So but the next time, in my next attempt, it was relatively difficult to work like 9 to 5, and after that still managing to give 2 hours. But having said that, I made it a point, like, even if I don't feel like studying on that particular day, I made it a point to just take my course book, take those sums, and just sit with them at least for 2 hours a day. And once you sit, you like feel like solving sums. And like, I used to set small targets for every week, And in CAT, focusing on the short targets is more important than focusing on the longer goals. Because if you don't do the daily small tasks, you will eventually find it difficult to achieve the long term goals.
Right. Okay, we take a question. So it's saying that, hey Sanjay, you scored a 99 plus in DILR. So how did you increase your pace and what material did you refer?
Yeah. So as a computer science engineer, DILR pretty much came naturally to me. However, I would like to recommend some tips for DILR section. So DILR is mainly puzzle solving and logic based, but there are like if you break it into DI and LR, DI you will find it relatively easier and almost you can get almost all the questions correct. So what I used to do is whenever I get the paper, I'll just scan through all the passages and firstly I'll attempt the DI part. So in DI, pretty much you can manage 100% accuracy after practicing because it is simply just reading the data from the pie charts, let's say. And LR part is a bit difficult. It is tricky. Like on that given day, if you do not choose the right passage, it will be difficult for you to score well. In my first cat attempt, I had actually chosen the passages wrongly, and which led to a relatively lower score in the DILR. So the second way around, I focused mainly on passage selection. And as for the practice, you can refer to Arun Sharma's book for the LR practice. So yeah, that's what I would recommend.
Okay, Ashwin, would you like to share your LR strategy?
Sure. With respect to my DLF, I come from, it wasn't, I was never smooth sailing with DLF. It was always a rocky road. I used to either score very high in one mock and score very low in the next one, or it used to be consistently poor. But something around those lines was that what I basically did, what I realized during CAT 2021 is the best way is to practice from as many previous year papers as you can. And I think solving CAT level sets, because right now I think in CAT there is no distinction between DA and LR. The sets that are given are a mix of both. And I think solving CAT level sets is you'll get accustomed to the difficulty level asked, or maybe you will get accustomed to the what they are exactly asking, what is your approach to it, and what should be the respective time frame to solve it. So I think solving previous year papers and previous year sets helped me get at least a somewhat decent, or help me manage the DLR section there.
Right. Okay, now we have a question from Vinay. It says that when you scored less in mocks, so how did you use to motivate yourself to perform better next time? So,
Sure, Vinny.
you can,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, see, everyone scores less in their mock sometime with respect to others. One of the key things how I handle that failure is that, as I said earlier, what I realized in CAT 2020, I used to get bogged down. I should think that I used to think of a lot of things that this is going to be the end, or this is going to not maybe turn out so well in the end. But I think during CAT 2021, I realized that I'd actually dealt with CAT 2020 before, and I saw that there is always some uncertainty with respect to where you might end up. And even in CAT 2021, so I decided from the get-go that I will I'll have no regrets with respect to my prep. So I used to prepare daily, and even during that season, and I basically thought that I'll keep no expectations from myself with respect to the exam or with respect to the mock. My goal was just to keep expectation with respect to my prep. So how much I used to attempt daily, how much I used to score daily. Of course, I did not have such a stellar run in the mock season. I used to have low scores with respect to DLR or overall sometimes. But I think one key thing was the mentality change that had happened around that period of time. And shortly, I think I had at least gotten numb to the feeling of a low mock score. So maybe I used to listen to some songs or used to go for a walk. I think that was one of the big things that helped me, or I used to watch a movie to relax myself, just talk with my friends in general. These are, I think, the key things that actually help me just get out of that and then again start preparing for CAT. So I think that was one of the key things that I.
Right, that's a great point to focus more on the preparation and not so much on the mock scores. Right. Okay, Pranav is asking us, can you guys please share your VARC attempt strategy? So, yeah, Sanjay, please.
Yeah, sure. So in VARC, you should recognize your strong points. So let's say you are strong in VA. For me, I my strong point was RC, so I made it a point to attempt all the RCs in the paper, and I did not give much time to the VAs because VAs were non-negative marked, so you can, even if you get 1 minute per question, it would be sufficient for me. In VA part, my accuracy was quite low, and I tried to make up for it in the RC section. So one key thing I would like to point out is that you, of course, cannot attempt all of the question. And in my last CAT attempt, I had skipped like 3 to 4 VA questions. That being said, I would like to tell everyone that if your strong part is RC, attempt it first. Do not keep it for the end. Or if you are good in VA, you should attempt it first. So play to your strengths, basically. So yeah.
Right.
I
Ashwin?
think I am also, yeah. I think I'm also in the line of Sanjay, that I was also naturally good with RC and not so much with VA. So I used to, and whatever my score in VA, in the RC, the section, used to come from mainly from RC scores only. So I used to develop my high accuracy towards RC, and I used to sparingly attempt VA because I know that there will always be a lot of uncertainty, and maybe I just used to attempt which I was extremely sure of. So in RCs, I used to attempt but all the questions. So I used to devote naturally a lot of time over there. And of course, as Sanjay said, there's no one right strategy. Maybe you can attempt but there are at least three strategies that I've naturally noticed during what many of the toppers do. So one is to first attempt the entire RC, then the VA, or it can be the entire VA first, then RC, which is very highly unorthodox. Or the third thing is maybe do three RCs or maybe do two RCs, do some VA, and then continue with the rest of the RCs. That helps. That is maybe perceived as somewhat to manage the stress between the RCs.
Hmm. Right. Uh, we have a question from Sarthak. It says, how did you analyze your mocks? Did you simply solve the leftover incorrectly solved questions, or did you solve even the ones which you did right?
So I think with analysis of mocks, I used to take two, three things into mind. The first thing used to be of how I would analyze them from with respect to each section, I think. So naturally, I was working. So maybe I could not I might not analyze the entire mock at one go. So I should attempt maybe sections. I used to attempt it sectional wise. So VRC, I did not used to spend so much time because it used to I used to make little to no mistakes over there, and maybe whatever I used to just see where all I had made a mistake in the RCs, and then with respect to what all I could have attempted in the VA parts. So that was there for VA. With respect to DALR, as I do not always score well in DALR, so I used to attend the entire section, regardless of whatever I scored, whether good or bad. I used to attend it, regardless of the same. With respect to QAs, during my mock season, I used to make very silly mistakes throughout the time, and naturally, I worked on them, analyzed them consistently, and I on the D-Day, that 2021, I made no mistakes in that sense. So I think that came again from analyzing both things with respect to the incorrect questions and how the correct questions, whether I could have solved them more faster. Because I think in process of solving them faster, you get some more time that can be used to solve another question maybe. Or maybe some question that you might have gotten it wrong, you can now get it right with that extra few seconds.
Right. Now, I would like to ask you both, what material did you use to refer for your preparation, and can you recommend any books, mocks, etc., to our audience? So,
Yeah,
yeah, Sanjay.
yeah, sure. So I'll go section wise. So for VARC, along with reading, I recommend you to go through Arun Sharma's book, Arun Sharma is what I referred for both VA as well as DILR. In addition to that, for VA, I also referred to the passages in GRE books, the easy and medium level passages. You get those online resources for free. So they are ETS 150 book as well as the Manhattan Prep. So the difficulty level is fairly similar to CAT, but in those books, the explanation as to why a particular answer is correct is given better than I could find anywhere else. So that is what I strongly recommend. For cons, I solved the questions on, as I mentioned earlier, on 2iimcat.com. Even that website has solutions in video format, as well as they have explained each and every question in detail. So for Quant, I followed that website. And for DILR, along with Arun Sharma's books, I took a lot of sectional mocks. So sectionals are also important. So yeah, this is what the material I had referred for each of the sections.
Right. Ashwin?
With respect to DRC, I used to do DRC sectionals from sectional mocks or previous year papers. That was one of the core things that I did. Even with respect to DLR, I did the same thing. With QA, I used to not only solve the QA threads that are posted with quantifiers, I used to also do the additional TILR sets that were given by them. And then they were all previous year CAT level sets only. So I used to do them regularly. And I think with respect to QA, I used to daily keep a sectional timer with respect to each question, regardless of maybe whether I'm getting it as a thread or maybe I'm getting it as a form of a section of a mock, which is sitting it in the form of a mock. So I used to always keep a timer. Used to solve my QA with that same time frame so that I did not make any mistakes in the paper.
Right.
So
Uh,
one thing, sorry. In addition, I think even Arun Sharma had initially referred to, but over the course of time, I realized that another good source of prep was there's a book with respect which has all the previous year CAT questions that has come. So that is extremely good book for QA. And I used to use that not only as a source of prep, but also as a source of revision during my latter part of the prep.
right. Uh, Now, I would like to ask you both that apart from giving mocks, what are some other ways by which aspirants can gauge like if they are on the right track with their preparation, and what can they do to ensure that they get their target percentiles? So, yeah.
Yeah. So apart from mocks, you should make sure that basically the portion for each of the subjects is covered. So let's say for quant, there are like 20 to 25 odd topics. So basically, you should at least know the basics of each topic, not let's say in-depth knowledge. At least you should be able to solve the easy level questions. After that, of course, you should go into depth for each topic. And for let's say VARC or for VARC, you can check if you are able to solve a passage properly, if you are able to eliminate the options. For the VA part, if you are able to get the chronological order or the odd man out properly. So these are some things you can check. But majority of your surety will come from mocks. Uh, and while giving mocks, you should not focus on let's say one result or
Hmm.
to better gauge your preparedness. You should take a rolling average of the last 5 mocks. So that's basically what most aspirants do instead of focusing on one particular mock.
Right. Ashwin?
Uh, yeah. Maybe along those same lines, definitely Sanjay covered a lot of things. And with respect to the mocks themselves, uh, mocks are the best source for gauging your preparation, hands down. But other than that, maybe with your prep, maybe you can, but you'll not be giving mocks all the time. You'll also be preparing for maybe some question sets and other things. So even your accuracy and attempts in that. So as I said before, I used to keep a timer with respect to anything I used to do. So I used to naturally measure the accuracy attempts and then see even in that stage. So I was in fact just even during my prep part, other than my mocks, I should still treat it as a mock and then give it. And as Sanjay said, you can't just focus on benchmarking your previous mock score. You should take it as an average. So that is why it again falls in line with that earlier line of thing, what I said, that if you're scoring somewhere in the lines of 97 to 99 plus, you'll be doing well in all. If you're scoring well in all three sections, you'll definitely be doing well during the DD.
Right. So now, like any final tips which you would want to give to our audience? Yeah, Sanjay.
Yeah, okay, sure. So yeah, the final tips are like you still have 3 months left for the cat. If you haven't started it yet, it is a good time to start now. So it's not too late to start it. And yeah, if you're on the right track, please continue doing the small things that you do every day. Let's say you solve one RC daily. So stick to your plan. Don't get deviated, because like there are many ways to crack the cat exam. So focus on your strengths, play to your strengths, and do not stop the regular hard work. The regular work is what will define your final outcome. uh, give mocks at this point of time, focus on previous years. Yeah, that's it, what I would like to say.
Ashwin.
I Yeah, I think Sanjay covered a lot of things over in terms of technical stuff. What I would just like aspirants to do is to just maybe keep their cool, treat it as an exam, not anything else. And even after the calls come, maybe after, even after you have wasted time, there's no surety. So of where you might end up, because I had no calls from the old IIMs, and my best call, I just converted my best call FMS. So that is something that I'm immensely just thankful for converting that call. So definitely just treat it as an exam and not anything else, because you will never know where you might end up. So just take it in the form of that. And then definitely, of course, you should be just solving more sectional tests with all your efforts. Maybe if you're making a mistake, analyze it well. So definitely spend more time and keep daily consistent targets. So if you're able to not solve a mock a particular day around this time, maybe I was solving at least a mock or at least a mock in every 2 days. So if you're not able to do that, or maybe solve at least around 3 mocks a week, what you can do is go for more in-depth analysis of sectional tests. Sectional tests are definitely a great source for prep. So solve as much as sectional test you can, solve as much as mocks you can, gauge and most importantly gauge your performance on basis of those things. So,
Yeah,
only
I
these.
would like to add one more point. Yeah, so aspirants should not look too much into the future. Like what, even if I get a 99, I would not be able to get these calls.
Mhm.
Or let's say even if I get the call, maybe I won't do that well in the interviews. So these are the questions which aspirants have at this moment. I have been asked these questions many times. So what I would say is like focus on the cat first, ace it, and then afterwards what will happen shall happen. So like if you are scared that maybe interviews won't go in your way, or you don't have those skills, uh, those are things for the later part. At least I would urge everyone to at least go give the cat and later think about all the other problems. So yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
That's yeah,
Sorry
yeah,
to
go
add.
ahead.
Uh, one more thing is that with respect to GDPR, that will obviously come after you have done well in the CAT. So when you are doing your GDPI prep, you'll again be forming a good group. Again, as you prepare for CAT, I'm pretty sure most of aspirants form a good peer group and then study along those lines. So what you do along with GDPI is somewhat similar to that, where you again form a good peer group. So Sanjay, and another 6, 7, 8 people, we were all part of one group and we should prepare daily for GDPR. And that is how I think that general strategy progresses. And what I learned from all of them was that GDPI is very different. You will most important, you will never know where you are going to end up, and the most important thing that you can do prior to that is to crack that. All the other stresses of whether where you might end up, what percentile I have to target for each specific college, that's a mind-numbing task. And frankly, it ultimately leads to nowhere. And that is why I had actually not attended CAT 90. That is what gave me that pressure, additional source of anxiety and pressure. That is so. Please try to refrain from going along those lines of. Yeah, that
Right.
is
And as you both said, like if you don't try, you would never know. So it's like best to give your best for the cat and then see whatever comes after that. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you so much, guys, Sanjay and Ashwin, for joining us. Thank you for our audience for staying with us till the end. And we will soon come up with more such webinars. So stay tuned and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye.
thank you.
Thank you.